To
Is
see
the
you.
U.S.
Long
market
time
living
no
on
speak.
borrowed time?
The first
Ruchir Sharma
question I
of
have for you,
Rockefeller
based on reading this
International and
excellent
why he's
op-ed,
betting on
is
international
you
stocks
think
for
there
the
is a
future.
major
He
disconnect
concludes by
between
questioning
where
what,
U.S.
if
equities
anything,
are
could
and
finally
the
cause the
scale
U.S. market
of
to falter.
commentary about the U.S. market kind of due a pullback.
Yeah, this is beginning to look a bit like 2023. That if you remember back then, what happened was that the Fed had raised interest rates significantly. Most economists were expecting the US economy to head into a recession. Instead, the US economy ended up being quite resilient. And something similar, I think, is going on now, which is that the tariffs are much higher, even after the rollbacks. The tariffs are much higher than they were at the beginning of the year. And yet the US economy has again proven to be quite resilient, and most economists are scratching their head about what's really going on out here. The easy explanation is the fact that this is bound to still roll over, that US economy will still buckle under the tariffs. But I'm wondering if there's something else going on. Is it the crazy spending which is happening on AI, which is keeping the economy up? Is it, again, like 2023, that the fiscal stimulus is still rolling in and that's what's propping the economy up? So this is more like a thought experiment that I try to do in this piece, that what's going on? Why is the market and the economy and earnings holding up so well in the face of such negative news that we have seen, led by tariffs, and then all the geopolitical tensions that we have seen?
One of the lines you come out with, which I love, is, rather than never bet against the U.S. consumer, it's never bet against the U.S. retail investor, and the way that they've kind of continued to step in and buy the dips, and obviously been right to do so for many years now. But you also point out a statistic that was striking to me, that half of U.S. household wealth is now in stocks. Surely that's a risk factor as opposed to a bullish factor.
Yes, so far I think this is a bit of cognitive dissonance going on, that so far we have to give it to the retail investor, because even in April, while the hedge funds were selling, the retail investors stepped in to buy. So they have been more than just dumb money, as they were referred to. But I totally agree with you that there are extremes in the market out there. And so therefore, I've been a big proponent of buying more international stocks. And that's the other story that I touch upon in the column that I speak. So there are risks to the US market. And I still think that the US market is very overvalued, which does not bode well for future returns. But I think that, just have to be intellectually honest here. I'm just trying to sort of look at that. Why is the economy and the market holding up so well in the face of such negative news? As that old Wall Street saying goes, that if it's in the news, it's in the price. So if it's not already in the price, all this negative news, what really will cause the US market to kneel over?
I feel like one of the reasons it's been so strong, Ruchir, is that when those liberation tariffs were announced, it was all doom and gloom. And the biggest worry was that it would spike inflation and the unemployment rate, because businesses would get so nervous and they'd have to start laying off workers, and then they'd have to raise prices. And neither of those things have happened.
Exactly. And so I think that, the mystery is, why has that not happened so far? Because the US government currently is earning nearly $300 billion on an annualized basis of revenue from the tariff. And that who's paying for these tariffs? Is it all the foreign suppliers that are being stuck with this shock? Or is it the fact that the US corporations are still running down their existing inventory, and so they don't feel compelled to increase prices as yet, and they will do so when they have fresh produce to sell out there? So it's one of those mysteries, and something that we need to examine more about. How can this be such a free lunch for the US, which it has turned out to be so far?